Zero, the symbol for nothing. It looks simple, just a circle, a void, a placeholder. But don't let it fool you. Zero is one of the most radical, mind-bending, and powerful inventions in human history. Without it, you wouldn't have algebra, or calculus, computers, or even your smartphone. So, where did zero come from? Who had the courage to define nothing as something? And why does it matter more than ever today? Let's take a deep dive into the story of zero. From ancient counting systems to black holes and artificial intelligence, this is the tale of how nothing became everything.
There's a question. Why ancient civilizations feared zero? Long before we had paper or apps, ancient civilizations were already counting to manage trade, taxes, crops, armies. But there was a catch. They had no concept of zero. The Babylonians had an early number system based on 60. They used spaces or later little wedge symbols to indicate a gap, a placeholder, but not a true zero. The Egyptians and Romans? Even worse, Roman numerals have no zero at all. Try doing math with just I, V, X, L, C, D, and M. It's a nightmare. No subtraction, no place value, no decimal points. Why didn't they invent zero? Because the concept of nothing was uncomfortable, even dangerous. In many cultures, nothingness was associated with chaos, death, or the void. It wasn't just a mathematical problem, it was a philosophical one. So, where is zero originated from? The answer is, the concept of zero originated in ancient Mesopotamia and was further developed in ancient India. While the Mesopotamians, particularly the Sumerians, used a placeholder for zero as early as 5,000 years ago, it was the Indians who truly formalized zero as a number and established its use in mathematical operations. Let's get to know the birth of zero in India. The breakthrough came in India during the 5th to 7th centuries. Indian mathematicians developed a positional number system, the same base 10 system we use today, but they needed a symbol to represent an empty place. At first, it was just a small dot, but then came a game changer. Around 628 AD, a brilliant scholar named Brahmagupta wrote the first rules for zero as a number. He wasn't just using it as a placeholder. He treated zero as a full participant in math. A number minus itself is zero. Zero multiplied by anything is zero. He even tried to define what happens when you divide by zero, and though he got it wrong, the effort was revolutionary. This was the first time in history that nothing was giving mathematical rules. India had created the modern concept of zero, and it changed the world.
The story doesn't end in India, and this is how zero traveled to the West. Indian numerals, including zero, traveled through Persia and into the Islamic Golden Age, where scholars like Al-Khwarizmi and Al-Kindi preserved and expanded this knowledge. They translated Indian works into Arabic and developed algebra, a term that comes from al-jabr. By the 12th century, these texts reached Europe through Spain and North Africa. But Europe wasn't quick to adopt them. In fact, zero was banned in parts of Italy during the 13th century. Authorities feared it could be used for fraud in accounting. After all, it was just a nothing. But merchants and mathematicians loved it. A man named Fibonacci helped change minds with his book Liber Abaci, showing the power of Hindu-Arabic numerals for commerce and trade. Zero slowly took root, and mathematics would never be the same. Why zero was so revolutionary? Zero wasn't just a new number, it was a new way of thinking. With zero, we gained place value. Now, 205 is different from 25. Algebra. You can solve for the unknown. X equals 0 becomes a valid equation. Calculus. Concepts like limits and derivatives depend on approaching zero. Mathematician Charles Seif put it perfectly. Zero was the spark that turned math into a tool for exploring the infinite. It allowed us to ask deeper questions, not just how many, but what if there's nothing?
Zero in the modern world. Today, zero is everywhere. Your computer runs on binary code, a language of ones and zeros. In physics, zero marks the baseline, zero velocity, zero temperature. In economics, a 0% interest rate can shape entire markets. In philosophy, zero plays into discussions of being versus nothingness. In AI, zeros represent data, the absence of activation in neural networks. Even the idea of a black hole involves dividing by zero, infinite density at a single point. Zero is not just a mathematical trick, it's a foundation of modern civilization. So, the power of nothing. What's so amazing about zero is that it came from a need to express emptiness, gaps, the absence of things. But it turned out to be one of the most powerful inventions in human history. By naming the void, we learned to understand it. By defining nothing, we unlocked everything. So next time you look at a zero, whether it's on your phone, in your calculator, or in your bank account, remember, it's not just a circle. It's a symbol of the human mind's ability to imagine the invisible and give meaning to nothing. Enjoyed the video? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more.